Here we are. Hello, boys and girls. It's the drinker here. I'll do the intro thingy. It's open bar, and it's last orders basically. It's what we do on a Sunday night when we've got super chats to catch up on.
Where everyone's gone home and we're just still in the bar, like head on the actual bar, just like.
Well, we've all been there. I fell asleep on a table once. That didn't go down well.
Wasn't comfy.
Well, no, the bouncers took exception to it and hauled me outside. I kind of thought they were going to beat the shit out of me because there was like 3 of them for some reason. But they ended up just telling me to piss off, so that was all right. I didn't die. Anyway, it's all good. So, thank you for joining me tonight again, MauLer. It's always good.
No problem.
And we have got some super chats to get through. And hello to everyone in chat tonight. We'll try and keep this entertaining for you. And if you're one of those people who sent me a super chat on Thursday night and you've been waiting several days for me to answer because I'm tardy as fuck, now's your chance. So
I don't say that word online anymore.
I can be tardy. It's okay.
Drinker, don't say retardy. That's
yeah. Well, speaking of retardy, the first one that came in said Mark Ruffalo was the worst Hulk to do a push-up, for God's sake, and that's from Ryan Patterson. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big fan of Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. I've always found him kind of annoying. He was good in the first Avengers movie. I thought he was the most Banner-like, and it's just been kind of a downward spiral since then. And now I just find him really insufferable.
Yeah, I wonder if it's both the fact that I think it's not a great cast for the role, and also just they don't care to put him in any kind of direction that is compelling. They're just kind of using him.
Yeah.
So he's got both bad things happening at once.
And yeah, I think I kind of alluded to this as well on the stream. It's that, the rest of them seem to have like aged really well in the past 10 years. Like, I guess because they're all in like super amazing shape. But Ruffalo just somehow really let himself go. It's like when I see those pictures of him from the Avengers from 10 years ago and what he looks now, I'm just like, fucking hell. You've had a tough paper round, son.
Well, yeah, that's the problem, though. I don't know if is anyone telling him, like, Mark, you need to get in shape for your next role? Or are they just like, yeah, just turn up?
I mean, I know, like, playing Bruce, it doesn't really require him to be in amazing shape. Like, he's not like Captain America or anything like that, or Thor. I don't know, man. Just out of, if nothing else, like just pride or vanity would just make you think, yeah, I'm going to be starring opposite these amazing human beings. I should probably get myself to the gym a little bit.
Yeah.
Never mind. Dragon X give me €2. Thanks, man. Yo-Yo said, hey, just rewatch Troy. You should review it, drinker. Funny you should say that. Lots of swords and boobs and misogyny. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being a lot of boobs in it.
Yeah, Diane Kruger's boobs at one point.
Not for long. They are good, though. I'll give her that. Mm-hmm. Diane Kruger is pretty hot. But yeah, we watched it for EFAT Movies back in the day.
We did. It will be out. That one's actually edited. That's one of the earliest ones we did. They'll see them one day.
Yeah. No, it was all right. I mean, I think, I don't know, the general consensus amongst us that it was pretty entertaining. Like the battles were good.
Pretty good performances.
Long, perhaps.
It was pretty long. That's true.
Papa Piker says the back shot of Shulky looks like she got a BBL. If that's what I think it is that the thing where they inject fat into your arse to make it bigger?
Oh fuck! I'm not sure. It might be.
I believe that's short for Brazilian butt lift. If that's the case, I don't know, man. They did comment in the trailer that apparently her ass looks amazing, so fair play. Claudio Rogajan says the CGI thing is because they've been backed up by film delays from what I heard, and I've had to do a whole film in a little over a month. Makes sense. Okay, I'm not sure.
Just like why the CGI is looking shitty.
It could be. I mean, we did sort of discuss that. It seems like they're spread really thin, just because everything is CGI heavy now.
Yeah. A lot of people are already saying, like, man, She-Hulk, she didn't have to be CGI, did she?
I mean, you're going to struggle to get a woman who's 7 feet tall and built like that. But
I keep thinking, like, but maybe there's a way to do it where it's CGI, except because the face, right? That's what's really distracting about all of it. So maybe there's a way to do it where you have a CGI body and a real. I don't know.
It's a tough one. I mean, obviously they were able to do it for the TV show back in the 70s with Ferrigno. You're not really going to get an actress or whatever that looks like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually planning to do like a comparison video, just like talking about CGI and the overuse of it in movies, because I remember we discussed it like briefly on an open bar. I think it was me, you, and Az. And there's kind of more I want to say, and like obviously when you're just doing it off the cuff, you're not going to give your best sort of insights into it. And I wanted to give examples of like the good and the bad, and you know, it's got its place for sure. It's just like when it's used to the point where it's just in everything, it's just shite, you know.
I think the intuitive take for most people right now is, man, they are using it for everything, aren't they? It's like, kinda.
Yeah. And it's times when I know this sounds almost obvious, but like there's a lot of times when you don't even notice it, but then when you see like the behind the scenes shots on like Marvel films, like how much of it is just green screened in or whatever, and like I know that's probably a sign that they've done a better job than you would expect, but then you just think, well, couldn't you have built a soundstage, or couldn't you have gone on location or something? You know, a lot of the time you just think, how shit for the actors when they're just essentially playing against nothing most of the time.
And that is seemingly why they're able to get this stuff done so quickly, quote unquote. So much of it isn't done on location and stuff, but yeah, you kind of wish that they would make films a little bit more groundedly, more nuts and bolts focused. But
yeah. Jaro Mayo says, can someone please bring back Coke to Hollywood again? I miss fun, crazy movies like those of Cannon films. Cannon were great back in the day. And yeah, again, we've talked about this before, how, you know, you go back 20, 30 years, like everyone was just high on Coke and, you know, just making movies out of sheer greed, which was fine. And they just had fun with it. Now, obviously, it's a different landscape, and it's just so much more controlled and sterile and bleh, so bland, you know. I would take like a rough, you know, movie with maybe poor special effects from back in the day that just had a bit more heart into it and a bit more fun than what we have now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like Terminator 1, like some of that stuff was done without permits, right? In a rush, and James Cameron is trying to make things work, and it's almost like that creative drive and passion to just desperately create this thing that you want to make. It's just like that. There's not even room for that in a world where everything's prepackaged for you. It's like, this is your allotted time, area, and tools to be able to make this. You know, like, can I make something else? And like, no.
It's a little bit, I guess you could compare it like, it's like a person kind of tinkering on a hobby in their garden shed versus like sitting in some cubicle in some giant like corporate building. Doing an assigned task, you know, like there isn't that room for like just enjoyment and creativity. Claudio Rogajan says, also ILM usually does all the Marvel movies recently. Do they? I thought Marvel had their own in-house special effects.
I think, is it a matter of they're using both? Like, because it's like I said, as far as I knew, they have all kinds of projects that are just loaning out jobs all over the place.
I'm going to see what ILM actually have been working on recently. So, blah, blah, blah. What's their recent projects? So, 2020s. Okay, so they did. Yeah, they do some Disney stuff like Jungle Cruise. They did Free Guy, No Time to Die, Eternals. They did that one. But the Batman, they did that, and they did Multiverse of Madness.
Good.
Didn't know that. And they're going to be doing Jurassic World Dominion. But ILM did all of the Jurassic Park movies, didn't they?
Yeah, as far as I know.
And they're doing Thor: Love and Thunder. There we go.
Yay!
Analytical Scribe says Lucas, James Cameron, Michael Bay for Transformers all use their own CGI studios. Notice their movies hold up better than most. Didn't Cameron use ILM? I could be wrong.
I'm not
there.
sure. I just know that he's like a guarantee of things looking pretty good, James Cameron.
Yeah.
And I remember this getting talked about with Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean, but there's like a care you have to take with CGI when you're directing and lighting and filming, that you need to be aware of the process for how it's made, which I'm pretty sure George Lucas was pretty aware of it when he was doing the prequels. And so maybe it's not as simple, because like I think the prequel CGI can oftentimes make everything look a bit too fake. But a lot of people think that they consider that a visual style. So I don't know.
It's funny just thinking about Cameron there when we were talking about the sort of assembly line of Marvel. He is the exact opposite of them in a lot of ways. Like he produces like one movie every decade.
Yeah. Yeah, and people are like, look how impressive the CGI is in the Avatar 2 trailer, and it's like, well, yeah, because he's been cooking that for ages.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't fault him for his like attention to detail. I suppose it's just, yeah. Like I guess we've said before, was it worth this amount of his time? Given his age as well, like he probably doesn't have that many movies left in him before he retires, and it's like,
Yeah.
do you really need to devote all of this to Avatar?
I will be willing to push that question way harder if it turns out to be shit. If it's good, then all right, James. All right, fine.
Yeah. Saitama says his Hulk is still Universal property.
Yeah.
They own the rights to Hulk.
But to be fair, that doesn't mean they had to do all the things they did with him in terms of story choices. It's what Gary was saying, where he can only be a supporting character. He can't be a main character in a movie. But, you know, you can still tell his story like they seemingly were going to maybe do in Ragnarok. But then he just sort of... It's kind of a joke throughout all the MCU, really.
Yeah. There's a lot of characters that are just jokes now. There's one here. Great interview with Mark Ralston Drinker. Thank you very much. It was great to talk to Drake from Aliens. Really nice guy as well. Neil Oakley says Daredevil TV CGI not needed, just great writing and acting and beautiful real fight choreography, never to be improved. I mean, I don't think Marvel's going to improve on it, that's for sure. Or Disney. Yeah, and he's getting another season, isn't he? There's going to be a Daredevil season 4, but done under the Disney Marvel brand.
Wow.
That's going to be so shit, man. Like, can you imagine the kind of violence that you got in the first couple of seasons? They're not going to do that.
No.
Shame. Claudio Rogajan says, compare ILM Avengers Infinity War and Endgame CGI to ILM Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest CGI. Did they have more time back then? They must have. I mean, maybe they did, yeah.
Like I was saying, it's not even just the fact they probably did have more time, certainly than Endgame, but there was like a goal to have integration, because Davy Jones' CG is some of the best looking stuff and just will be for a really long time. It's kind of the same with Balrog. When you... It's so hard to exactly explain it because I'm not familiar enough with the technology to be able to say this in better terms than just what are hopefully intuitive to you. But you have like technology improves over time, and so CGI does get better and better, and yet we have examples to this day of new CGI that looks horrendous. And it's like, how is that possible? And it's like, well, yeah, because we're still ultimately limited by how you implement it, and that can be affected by how much time you have to make it and how much care you give to it. Bad and great CGI exists across time. It's kind of interesting, right? Because like it's no different than practical effects in that way, I guess. And it's like, so what's the key? It's like, unfortunately, they care and time. It seems to be.
And I don't know if it's...
those.
Well, that's kind of it. And you know, it's easy for us to point the finger at big studios like Marvel that are producing like just a huge number of movies and TV shows every year, and it's like, fine, you know, they're spread too thin and they're working to really tight deadlines.
Yeah.
I guess what happens with other studios that are just, this is like one of their big tentpole movies of the year, but it still looks shit. Yeah, you never quite know. And sometimes I guess it's because of reshoots, like, Justice League is probably a great example where they had to completely retool the movie, and they had about 6 weeks to do the CGI or something insane like that, and it looks like absolute garbage as a result.
You got the lip,
incredible
lip.
That'll never not be funny. Like, genuinely, especially that footage of Henry Cavill from the video camera right at the beginning. Like, it just looks even worse than the rest of it. Like, it just makes me laugh every time I see it. Just that weird, unnatural mouth hanging open.
So funny.
Raven Gray says, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, but not the one. Nice message you're sending there. I don't know if that's referring to Wanda. Maybe,
yeah.
Welsh Nick says, would you do a solos match on Warzone with your fans and post it? I don't know how I'd arrange that, actually. But I will see. Ghost in the Craig says, Doctor Strange in the the multiverseless vision of the MCU. That would, I could do without the multiverse, really, in my MCU. I don't feel like it's really adding much. Claudia Rogojan says, anyone else realize Wanda's plot in Multiverse of Madness is just the same as Kingpin's in Into the Spider-Verse, getting family from another universe?
And the way that they stop him in Into the Spider-Verse, or at least screw him up, is by he is being like evil Kingpin in front of the family. And they see it, and he reacts to that, and it's like, that's quite a similar payoff, actually. Huh.
Benson Magwani said, Gundam is more tuna than man, both twisted and evil. Tuna? I don't get it. Taker610 says, Saudi Arabia just bought 5% of Nintendo. My first thought was, no more female characters in Mario Kart. Then I see the same joke in an article about it. Interesting. Richard Enormous said, Jordan Peterson was called that spherical chick ugly was really funny. Is this the swimsuit thing?
Maybe
model. I don't know how his comments were received, because I think there was a lot of guys who are like, I guess they're into bigger girls, and they're like, yeah, chill out, man. But yeah, up to each to their own.
A little bit of friendly fire, I think, when you said that.
Yeah. Does this dress make my ass look big? Says paraphrasing Rikita Law, unbearded. Damn it. Baseline Sounds says, thoughts on the Hunger Games franchise, books and or films. I would love to see a prequel of Haymitch winning this year's Hunger Games. Love you all. I don't give much of a fuck about the Hunger Games, I've got to be totally honest. I think I've only seen like the first two.
I don't think I ever saw the first one.
I was just like, I guess like a lot of people, I was watching it thinking, this is just Battle Royale, but with teeny boppers. Like, I don't really get the draw of it. I didn't really love whatever the fuck her name was, Jennifer
Lawrence. Yeah,
Lawrence. That's it. Yeah, didn't really get why she became such a massive thing for a few years. Papa Piker says, if Bucky has PTSD from his mind control, why did they keep calling him Winter Soldier? You'd figure they'd name him like White Wolf and retire the shield. That's a good point, actually. Why keep reminding the man?
They said that they were going to. And then they said in some kind of interview that they feel if they'd called it Captain America, so it's called Falcon the Winter Soldier, and then the end of the show, it's like Captain America and the Winter Soldier. He's like, look at that, look how the name changed, because now he's Cap. Apparently, the original plan was to call it Captain America and the White Wolf, but they thought audiences wouldn't get it.
Yeah, you've got to keep milking that name, haven't you? It's like Winter Soldier was a really popular movie. Got to capitalize on that.
Not crazy, because that's precisely the problem when the storytelling is just second fiddle to everything else. It's like it always has to wait for everything else to get approved before the storytelling gets taken seriously. It's like, oh well.
It's absolutely like that now, and I was just thinking there as well. Actually, you know how we've criticized, like in WandaVision, you kind of had to watch WandaVision, the Multiverse of Madness. You had to have really watched WandaVision to get the context for all this stuff that was going on, and it was kind of a dumb decision because not that many people have bothered with it. Is it all just this cynical ploy then to just make people get Disney Plus and watch these shitty TV shows? Because that will be the thinking. I bet it's like a good number of those audience members will be thinking, "Oh man, I need to know what the hell went on in Westview and why Wanda is like an exile now. Better get that Disney Plus subscription and watch WandaVision."
I have to imagine it gave them some boost, and that they're hoping to push Disney Plus as a service. So yeah, probably.
Well, I mean, think about now, the next Captain America movie, because it'll be coming, no doubt. They'll reference Falcon and the Winter Soldier constantly. Again, you'll be wanting to watch that to get the context.
Mm-hmm. Like 10 more shows on the way too.
No. Matthew Millam says, "I'm happy to see the Devil Mouse double down on the wokery. It'll drive more people to alternate media like the Alternate Hero and Razor Fist's books." I mean, maybe it will, yeah. If they don't want to learn from their mistakes, I guess. Look what happened to the comic book industry in America. Now it's like dominated by manga. Oh yeah, there's a good one from Gaz S. It says, "Loki would be ashamed to tell Thanos that we have a Hulk."
Yeah, what the fuck does that even mean at this point? Who cares?
Fight the Club said, "Gary might remember, but MCU now is as vanilla and corporate as live-action Disney in the 70s and 80s. Those movies started with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and ended at Super Dad and Herbie Goes Bananas." Maybe it's a cycle. Who knows? Maybe this is what happens to companies after a while, and then they swing back. They have a renaissance again. Disney feels like they're overdue one. Mm-hmm. Chuckman says, "Bucky not being Cap is ridiculous. You can't tell me that they didn't try setting him up every single movie to be Cap. He picks up the shield every single movie. Endgame was such a stupid swerve." Yep.
I do not disagree.
Yeah, it almost feels like they had a real rethink of what Phase 4 was going to be and what they were going to do with all the Disney Plus shows. And it's like, yep, we need a whole bunch of different things to happen now. And it doesn't matter if you ruin characters and, sever plot threads that you've been setting up. Just get it done. Davin Smith said, "Hey guys, love your stuff. But Gary wanted to ask you what you think of Batman Curse of the White Knight by Sean Murphy. I'm not liking it." I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
I'm sorry, man. XSL says, "Scarface 83 has great soundtrack. You have favorites?" It does have great soundtrack. Push It to the Limit is pretty good. It's proper 80s cheese.
I wouldn't be able to reference any names or anything.
Crusadist Viewing says, "The missed opportunity to do God Butcher with Old King Thor after Endgame is so ridiculous." Yeah, there's a lot of missed opportunities there. But hey, got to make them a kid-friendly, goofy comedy hero now, I suppose. Can't have a dangerous, angry Thor. There's one. How about the Drinker Fixies MCU Phase 4?
Enough alcohol for that in the world?
Is there enough time for that? I think my video would have to be 6 hours long or something. Yeah, basically just delete everything that happened after Infinity War and let's get started. James Moore said, "Hey man, California is expensive. It's hard to find affordable housing as a single person." What was that referencing? Gary moving? Yeah, fair do. Raven Gray says, "To steal a line from the 90s, which was out of place in its own show, just because my reproductive organs are on the outside and not on the inside doesn't mean I can't handle anything you can." That's from Samantha Carter, I believe, from Stargate SG-1. It was a funny one, actually, with her, because it's like the first season, maybe even the first half of that season, it's like they toyed with the idea of making her like this, feminist wannabe badass character who was kind of combative with the men. then they realized like nobody liked that, and like she just actually settled down and became like this just really likable, awesome character. It's a weird one. I don't know whose decision that was, but it definitely saved her character. But yeah, I should reference Samantha Carter more actually, and like when I talk about videos on characterization like that, because they did a really good job with her. Elsewhere, Prince says, I went and saw Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in theaters. It was fun, enjoyable, and well spent time. Good.
Yeah, good.
I like that, and I like the fact that Jim Carrey's having a bit of a renaissance as well. Alex's channel said, men, am I right? Marvel unironically doing the women, am I right counterpart. Pretty much. Mighty Balzac says, are you proud that the new Doctor is a Scotsman? In a way, yeah. I mean, it's like, I think he's from Rwanda originally, emigrated over to Scotland when he was a kid, and then kind of grew up here. But hey, good stuff. And we had Peter Capaldi as well, so we're doing all right. And David Tennant, now that I think about it. The Paranormal Soldier says, I got offered a job at Marvel and Disney, but had to turn it down. It was $80K a year to stand on a platform and allow every non-male staff member to jab me in my junk without a cup 3 times a day while I apologize for all men. I mean, $80K a year.
I was going to say,
it'd be worth it. Moritz Vetter says, Disney has all these superheroes, but their only way to define virtues has become virtue signaling. If they had wit or balls, they could at least wrap that shite into a somewhat intriguing story. I mean, they used to, didn't they? They used to be quite good at writing stories with characters and arcs.
Allegedly.
At some point. Yes, yeah. Please get back to that. Just wind the clock back by 10 years or so. That'd be nice. Ross Irving says, how does the Predator discern from basic primitive weapons and guns? In the first film, the Predator does not see the trap in the showdown. I heard a YouTuber saying it doesn't make sense without guns. This is a good question for us to ponder, actually.
Well, he may not be able to spot traps like that, but surely he's familiar with the difference between like a sword and then an energy blade or something, like on a club. I don't think, because the fact is, like, do you realize what you just highlighted? It's like, how could he recognize old or new technology when he's tricked by a piece of technology? It's like, yeah, you're describing humans. We get tricked by technology all the time. That doesn't mean we can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Like with a lot of things broadly. Like, he's not going to be perfect, sure. And I actually think that would create interesting opportunities, right? Imagine you had a Predator who's like losing to these people who are a bit more primitive because he's not got his plasma caster and maybe some other stuff, and he just says, oh, fuck it, I need it. And he's maybe even with another Predator who's just like, damn, dude, like, you're pretty shit at this, huh? That's dishonorable, you know? There's plenty, and you don't have to do any of that with dialogue per se. You know, you can do it all through looks and different things.
Just have the Predators roar at each other occasionally, you know. It conveys a lot. No, I get that. And I think, you know, we saw that trailer for Prey, and you obviously get the 3 dots and the kind of beam sound, and because it's iconic to the Predator and it has to clue you in there and stuff. But it does make me wonder how much it'll use it in the actual movie, because like you say, it just would come across as really unbalanced and unfair.
Yeah, like the first film establishes this. It recognizes weaponry. It knows. Like, we're not going to be as crazy to assume it just can't tell the difference between a gun and a club. Like I said, he knows when he's a threat. I like to think the Predators are pretty smart. I just love the fact that they use mixing in like a trap within the nature sort of thing, and that would get it, because it's just that much. It's just that low in terms of the technological tree that a Predator has like got low awareness of it. But a Predator is going to know what a spear is.
Yeah, I mean, you can go a step further and say that it just physically can't even see the traps like that, like you know, a spike on a.
Like I said, man, you know, the Marines in Aliens, like, they probably would. I mean, technically speaking, they were prey to traps that are very standard. The enemies were hiding in the walls. Like, that's pretty low tech, if you will. Yeah, you can like overestimate your opponent, and they can beat you with some really simple strategies sometimes. And that's, again, why I love Predator. There's so many cool things happening in that film to think about. But I don't see it as incongruent with what's been established that predators will alternate their approach depending on the enemy they're facing. I think that's something we can easily intuit from what we've seen.
Kevin Kayajuka says, "Hello, gents, watching from my home country of Rwanda. Have you guys heard of a new horror show called From? I believe it is right up your alley. Very well paced, original, and very ambitious. Cheers." So it's called From.
Not heard of it.
Let's see if I can pull up a quick synopsis. So science fiction horror television series created by John Griffin, whatever. The Russo brothers executive produced it. And what's the actual premise? In a nightmarish town in Middle America that traps everyone who enters, unwilling residents strive to stay alive and search for a way out, but they are plagued by the terrifying nocturnal creatures from the surrounding forest. There you go. Sounds like a nice topic horror.
Yeah, sounds neat, I guess.
Robrecht Lenertz says, "Why don't other studios take over in this creative vacuum, even with bringing some entirely new heroes?" It would be nice, but like when companies like Marvel and Disney dominate the cinemas, it's just really hard for anyone else to break into it, I suppose.
I'll also go as far as saying I think there've been attempts, right? Some original projects pop up here and there. There was that TV show that was about a whole bunch of superheroes that like when I saw the trailer for it, reminded me of The Boys. Where Jupiter comes to mind. I can't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about? Does that ring any bells for you?
Oh, good question.
TV show. Let's see if I can find it. Jupiter's Legacy. That's what it's called, apparently.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Netflix superhero series. Like, so yeah, other people are trying to bank in on this, but you need to be really good in order to get going, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably like, I don't know, trying to be a content creator on like an alt tech platform as opposed to YouTube. You know, everyone is so familiar with it that that's just where they go. And so anyone else trying to break into that, you'd have to be producing something incredible to draw people away to somewhere different. And I guess that's the problem. Used Web Cartridge said, hear this one out. What if we got a Predator movie where the main characters are a platoon of colonial marines? Without spoiling it in the trailer, you find out that it's actually an Aliens versus Predator reboot. I would kill for that movie.
Wait, what? Well, are they saying like we think it's just a marine thing, and then it turns out they're fighting aliens and predators or something?
I mean, I don't know if they're suggesting that you think it's just colonial marines going up against aliens because that's what you've seen before and it's kind of predictable, and then whoa, right at the end, a predator shows up. I mean,
sure, but they kind of did that with AVP a little bit.
I mean, yeah, it would be kind of cool to see colonial marines go up against predators.
Yeah,
just to see what would happen there. Neil Oakley said it won't be as good as Pregnator. Yeah, fair enough. Is that a porn movie? Gears and Games said the Predator is an excellent movie if you're looking for a comedy while extremely high. I mean, it could be a different experience, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hugo says, say what you will about Halo, but Halsey is the first woman villain portrayed as a complete psycho in a long time. I mean, have you seen Wanda?
But we talked about it yesterday. All of the thing I was going to say, but that's part of the problem. Halsey is portrayed as a villain when there's a lot of things she's doing that aren't. She like helped save the fucking world with some of the things she did. So you have to address that, but the show doesn't have the balls to address it. Just like Multiverse of Madness. It's like, we can't kill one person to save everybody. And you don't have any character to say, like, why?
Yeah, I mean, in the world of Halo as well, it seems like they wouldn't even hesitate to make a call like that when it's like the survival of your species at stake.
It's a weird show, honestly. There's a lot of things wrong with it. But they're not wrong, but that she's portrayed as a villain. But as you said, yes, so is Scarlet Witch in Multiverse of Madness, for the most part. There's that weird line where they say she did the right thing, and you're like, what are you... What are you saying? What is that?
I mean, yeah. I guess the difference there is like she is clearly a complete psychopath as well, and really unlikable. But the movie tries to frame her as almost like a tragic hero, whereas everyone perceives her as a villain. So it's just weird. Mad Dog Gamer says, "I'm curious about what you guys think of the Avatar 2 trailer. You think it'll somehow subvert our expectations by being good, or just be another technical achievement showcase with a shallow story?" It's tough to know with the trailer because there's not really a whole lot to pull from it apart from like water is going to feature quite prominently in it. It looks very nice. Yeah, we're not going to know, I guess, until we see more. Give it a try, I suppose, but I don't have particularly high hopes for it. Thumb Ugly says, at Nerdrotic, the female predator has 2 mouths. Ooh.
Nice.
Kuro Kenshi says, you will respect the predator's pronouns. Of course we will. We're inclusive to all species. Ithamox says, I miss when the right was about personal responsibility and liberty, not anti-intellectualism and bigotry, and the left was about redistribution, not moralism and identity politics. No adults on deck. Fair play, man. RMFX says, if it bleeds menstrually, we can kill it.
There you go.
Is this meant to be true? Is it meant to be a female predator?
That's what I'm hearing, yeah. I haven't seen anything to do with it, but I've heard everyone saying that.
How would you even know? Like it's not like they're likely to have a very feminine appearance, you know. Well, can you imagine like the predator like painting its nails and putting on makeup?
Wow, misogyny. You didn't
try to style its weird dreadlock things.
I don't know. It's just such a strange thing to just start doing. But just like, all right, if you want to, I guess.
I want to see 2 predators make out.
Do it.
Like they're horrified monster faces, like trying to kiss each other and stuff. Do it, you cowards! Give us the predator porn movie that we all deserve. Magnific Mike says, it's a Gundam. You're my absolute favorite. Love you all. You make me laugh. Well, that's good. We should make people laugh a bit more.
Yeah.
Claudia Rogajan, I feel like I should explain my Top Gun experience. I was so hyped up for me. Then I watched it and was disappointed when it was just a guy walking around a base doing nothing really for the most part. What? In Top Gun? Is this the original one rather than the sequel? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like flying of aircraft in that as well. I liked it. I got a soft spot for Top Gun. I'm really hoping that the new one's going to be good because I'm going to go see it on Thursday.
Let me know.
Yeah, no, I will. Captain Dadpool says, working on a Halo series review for first video, going full long man on this one. Can I look forward to one of you gents ripping it apart? Love you guys.
Well,
already.
I was going to say we did an 8-hour stream last night with ER, Actman, and John Graham. So if you want to check that out, I guess it might give you some extra bits and bobs if you miss anything, because it can be tough. There's about 10 billion issues in that show.
Trickster says, Doctor Strange 2 proves that there was more than one way to kill Thanos and still win, but the MCU we follow is the retarded universe. Yeah. That is true. Very true. Aitken said,
when people were saying like, "Oh, that universe is the Illuminati," that's the dumb universe. And it's like, what do you think the fucking home universe is? The hell?
It's every universe is going to be as dumb as the writers, and go figure. Aitken says, for more woke crime fun, Far Cry 6 has approximately 70% women NPC enemies. I felt really conflicted with melee and shotgun attacks. I did notice that, actually. There's a lot of them. Paxton Stewart says, I feel like the concept of the Predator movie could work as long as A, the lead is likable, and B, the Predator and the human just don't team up. I believe anything could work, just needs good execution. I mean, I suppose you're right. Like, if the execution is amazing, you can make pretty much any idea work. I don't have a huge amount of faith, based on past experience with the Aliens and Predator movies.
Yep.
Bandit Red says, Drinker, you need to watch Attack on Titan. I know! I was lucky enough to watch it blind, no spoilers. Some of the best characters and plot out there. It does sound pretty good. Ghost of Ferris Manus says, have you guys ever heard of Cayman America by Iconic Comics? And if so, what do you think? I haven't heard of it, I'm afraid.
Neither have I.
Simon O'Leary says, hey, Drinker and Co., have you seen Once We Were Warriors? It's considered New Zealand's best movie before Lord of the Rings. What? I haven't seen that, I'm afraid. NDG Reaper says, first time donator, just wanted to say I really enjoy all the panels content. Epically Papa Gundam. Oh, we like having Gundam on. He is funny. Yeah. The Tweaky Kid says, considering the direction Doctor What the Fuck is going in, is it too early to feel sorry for the sonic screwdriver? To paraphrase Dr. Seuss, the places it'll go. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Mr. V says, Daredevil for Disney Plus confirmed in development. Yeah, we all died a little bit inside when we heard that. Jar of Mayo said, as with Star Trek and Star Wars and most movies nowadays, I feel like Ace Ventura in the shower crying and putting a plunger in my face and throwing up. That was a great scene. Ian Carells said, Nick Meyer, director of Wrath of Khan, said in an interview for Star Trek that true art is birthed from restrictions and constraints. Very well put, actually. Particularly for Wrath of Khan. Like their budget was cut massively for that movie compared to the first Star Trek film, which was just a big, slightly self-indulgent flop. And then they were like, well, okay, you can have another one, but you have to do it on like a third of the budget. And they did, and it turned out great.
Yeah.
Next one is Craig Steinkamp, who says, you dare come between a corporation and its prey? Amazon, you will not touch Lord of the Rings. Gary. Saran says, hey, lol, at the open bar, have any of you just watched Justified? 6 seasons to binge watch, and it's awesome. Timothy Olyphant and Walton Goggins both give great performances, and it's not woke, guaranteed. I mean, I like both of those actors, so
yeah,
sounds all right. Jared Gaskin says, I just got started creating my own comic universe, kicking it off with a book, never written anything before, and it's already better than DC and Marvel. Can't wait to share it with everyone. Nice. Good luck, man.
Yeah, good stuff.
Josh Brooks gave me $50, who said, you need to write a show, Drinker. You're the best reviewer. Thank you, man. Sometimes the best reviewers make the worst writers, so I don't know. I do help out with screenplays occasionally, so I do my best. Michael Tynan said, no rant, just love. Thanks, mate.
Oh.
We feel the love. Charles Hurst says, studios use Twitter as the measure of effectiveness. They have no idea what people want. I get the feeling that might be quite true, actually.
Yeah.
Which kind of got me excited that Elon Musk was buying Twitter, and it made me think it might rebalance things a little bit. Now he seems to be like, it's totally overvalued, and half your accounts are bots anyway, so I don't know what's going to happen there. Sean Wickett says, our favorite IPs are dead or dying thanks to corporate bullshit. What are properties that we should know about and support? So, kind of up-and-comers or things that haven't been touched yet. What can we save? What can we promote?
Like IPs or?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I'd have to go looking, I guess. I've been too busy.
Support Cobra Kai. There you go. There's one from me. Because it seems to be mostly non-bullshitty at the moment, and it seems to have retained some pretty good writing and characterization, and it's just really fun, and it's probably the best example of bringing back a really old franchise that I can think of right now.
Yeah. Things I spotted on things that are like less mainstream is hard to think. This is the thing. I've always considered it, but I've never actually like just gone to Netflix and just looked at like if there's a way to filter it so you see like the lowest viewed films. If there's any like gems hiding in there, you know.
Mm-hmm. I liked Upgrade. That was a cool little like sci-fi action movie. Yeah, I guess you always find little things like that.
People saying Arcane. I don't know if that's qualifies. It's supported by Riot. Like it's a pretty big production.
Yeah. Well, it was the money invested in it was crazy. Yeah, it was like a couple of million per episode or something just for animation. I would love to see this Predator versus Christopher Lloyd in Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. All right, next one. Yeah, sorry we're not interacting with the chat as much. It's just that we've obviously got a lot of these super chats from the other night to get through, and I kind of wanted to blast through them before doing the rest of it. Next one is Raven Gray says, just waiting for the Princess Bride reboot with Wesley as a woman. Oh, don't even say it. Teak says, are you fans of Street Fighter and are you excited for Chip and Dale? What? Chip and Dale?
I've heard a couple of things about that. Is that something that people are looking out for? Like Chip and Dale? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Chip and Dale, like the animated thing from like the 90s. I mean, I watched that as a kid, but I didn't know they were doing anything with it now. Oh, Tell me they're not remaking it. But yeah, I am a big fan of Street Fighter the movie. It's one of those glorious disasters that I just can't help but enjoy. Andrew says, when will they add pronouns to movie trailers and posters? Don't even joke about that because it's coming, by the way. Graham Tulloch says, Drinker, do you have hope for the new Obi-Wan series? No. Or will the Kathleen Kennedy water down the potential of this new series? I got no hope for it whatsoever. Seems like garbage in the making. I just feel bad for Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, to bring these guys back after like 15 years and just probably give them garbage to work with. Shame. David Little says, God bullocks the Star Trek spin-offs. Shout out to you fellas. Enjoy the content and commentary. Shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. Ed Starr says, thank you, Drinker. I agree. New Trek has destroyed my love for any Trek. I'm starting to complain about the original series now. Fuck. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's definitely episodes of the original series that are not great. Like, they had their off days. Same with TNG. They produced plenty of shit episodes, but the overall product was still good. It was still enjoyable. Yeah. We're just not in that world now. Mike said, do you think Disney is going to backtrack on the X-Men cartoon? In what way? I
assume they're committed. They're bringing out newer seasons of it, right?
Right, okay. Neil Oakley says, Kurtzman is an abomination, but I'll still watch Deep Space Nine. Perfect Trek TV. Hail to you all. Well, good. I'm glad that people out there can still like make that separation and just enjoy the original stuff. T said, because you've kind of discussed this, and you're not at that stage where like shit products now are going to take your opinion of like older stuff.
I really hope I never get to that point. It would suck. And it makes it all so much worse then, doesn't it? Like, because if that's the truth, like if enough bad Star Wars makes it so that I never want to see the OT ever again, that means that like every IP is in danger, like of becoming something that I can't rewatch when it goes from being something I've beloved and found so meaningful to something that I look at and I'm like, ugh, why do I even have the Blu-ray? It's like, oh.
I mean, my position is like with things like Star Trek, like I've got no interest in watching new stuff. Like I can't be bothered with Strange New Worlds. I'm not going to watch season 3 of Picard or season 2 actually. But I can still separate that from the older stuff. Like if I watched Wrath of Khan or Undiscovered Country or whatever, I can still enjoy those movies because they were made by different people in different eras and they just don't have that connection. There's nothing linking them to what we have now. So for me, that sort of thing is okay. But yeah, I mean, each person's different, I suppose.
Yeah.
T said, thoughts on the new Avatar trailer. Also, does Tatiana have a friend for Papa Gundam since Pokey took the kids in the divorce settlement? Well, there is Natalia, but I don't know if she'd be willing to move out to America. But yeah, we kind of talked about the Avatar trailer already. It's like, for me, I'll be willing to like wait and give the movie a go, but man, I'm pretty ambivalent about it. Slack Attack said, I guess this is a reference to the new Quantum Leap, which, fuck, I'd actually forgotten about it until I was looking through the live stream replay. We should pay Ernie Hudson to not be in this show. I think, yeah, you know what? We should maybe do that. Like, should we start a GoFundMe or something? Like, just Ernie Hudson loads of money to not be in Quantum Leap, the remake.
Like, you're better. Dude, you don't need to.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, I know he's not busy today, like these days, but man, to go from like the Ghostbusters 2016 movie to Ghostbusters Afterlife to then this, come on, Ernie, you better
do better.
Do better, yeah. Primer says, "Halo, these next several months are going to be a cornucopia of terrible media, ripe for thorough and hilarious dissection. To quote rapper Pusha T, it's about to be a surgical summer." Cheers, lads. I mean, there is that, I suppose. Like, it gives us plenty of things to point and laugh about. It's just a bit of a shame when it's stuff that you care about as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. New Quantum Leap. Just no. Just say no. Paul said, reboot Murder, She Wrote. There you go. Do it. You'll never top Angela Lansbury, as far as I'm concerned. Grimmer Gaming says, any thoughts on the supposed new Constantine from Jar Jar Abrams? I don't have many thoughts about it, if I'm honest.
I would just worry about anything that's coming from him at this point. It's probably not going to be good. But hey, yeah. I'm sure he can handle Constantine. That'll be great.
Yeah. He'll have plenty of lens flare. Willie Tyrion says, Critical Drinker did not get influenced by Amazon for Rings of Power, and for that, you have my support. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the Amazon, unless they send out some kind of hit squad to take me out, they're not going to try and influence me, I don't think. Marty Zaruba gave me 10 Czech Coronas. Thank you, man. Sir Pete says, do you think they'll remake the Quantum Leap episode where Scott Bakula looks in the mirror and sees that he has Down syndrome and says, I'm retarded?
They'll totally remake that.
Yeah.
100%.
Gotta do it. Could you imagine it, though? Like, the opportunities for the main character to get, you know, transitioned into, like, a different gender or a black person in America and, like, all the politics that'll be around it. It'll never end.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
Or else.
Or else.
Grimmer Gaming says, also, hail to you guys. Keep fighting the good fight. Thank you. Monkey Man said, looking forward to Invincible Season 2. Kind of. I liked Season 1. Thought it was really good.
I didn't see Season 1, so.
Oh, I got to give it a watch, man. I thought you'd seen Invincible.
Nope. I held out on that one, and people gave up recommending it.
The voice cast is fantastic, and yeah, some of the fight scenes are pretty gruesome, and yeah, the characters are great. So if you ever get the chance, give it a go. Nur Banurb says, speaking of old IPs people love, a live action Twisted Metal is in production from Peacock starring Anthony Mackie. I'd heard about this. Yeah, I remember the Twisted Metal games on the PlayStation. Damn, is he going to be playing Axel, Anthony Mackie? Because he's probably got the look. Sergio Botero says, have you guys read Tolkien's novel, The Children of Hurin? That one could never be adapted into film today. Strong patriarchs, neurotic women, abuse against the disabled, cruel, evil people of color.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's poison to modern writers, I suppose. So, yeah, don't imagine it. Unless it gets updated for modern audiences, which I guess they're keen on these days. Straight Shooter says, reboot Star Blazers. Just reboot everything forever. Rocket Raccoon says, apparently Obi-Wan Kenobi plot got leaked. Like, what the hell? Can't we create new fantasy or sci-fi stories? No. Well, Lucasfilm can't anyway. Rick O'Neill says, did you guys see Everything Everywhere All at Once? It's actually really good. Yes, we did. I believe we both liked it, didn't we, MauLer?
I did like it. Give it an old thumbs up. Even maybe 2 thumbs up.
It's
gonna break it down next Saturday with some guests.
I'm going to be, that'll be my next review. Actually, I'm planning to do that tomorrow. So
Sweet.
wait and see. Ithamox says about high time you checked out Black Rain. Might just end up with a drinker recommends. Fucking underrated gem from when RS was still held in check. Yeah, okay. Black Rain. Jesus Davila gave me $5 and a thumbs up. Cheers, mate. The Spaniard says Braveheart, a story of what it means to be a man, courage, and most important, freedom. Perfect for our times. Video insight from a fellow Scot. Yeah, a lot of people want me to do Braveheart. It's like, I don't know, man. It just feels like one of those movies that's so like popular and well known. I don't know what I can really add to it. But yeah, if people want me to do it, I will. Carrie Case says, did you ever see Beowulf? Came across it recently after teaching part of the epic in class. Yeah, so that was the 2007 movie. I think that was the animated one, was it?
Yes, a strange film, that one.
Yeah, that was when CGI was not quite where it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jazzman says, speaking of Game of Thrones, today marks the 3rd anniversary of the finale. Oh no.
Yeah.
Is it really 3 years? Shit.
Time has traveled, man.
It really has. And George R.R. Martin has written so much. Oh, wait, no, he hasn't.
Nope.
Never mind. Be Real says the China porn version of She-Hulk looks more realistic than the new show. I think Gundam made the mistake of looking up pictures of it while we were streaming.
Yeah.
He's been scarred ever since. A. Marcellus says, breaking news, new Daredevil Disney Plus series. Blah. No. You said that. I think you said this the other night. It's like 10 years ago, we'd have been really excited if, like, you know, shows that had been cancelled were suddenly getting brought back. And it's like, yeah, they've been given a second chance. This is going to be awesome. There'll be a huge budget and it'll be great. And yeah, not now.
Yeah, man. Like Family Guy. Do you remember that got cancelled like twice? And people were just like, yeah, it's back. Futurama had it happen. Bunch of like different. Obviously, everyone was dying for Firefly to come back. But like now, if they said like the CW rebooting Firefly, we'd all be like, no, stop.
Dehoy FT says, love all the content, drinker. Shout out to Nerdrotic. I'd love to hear your take on Breaking Bad. I know it's been covered many times, but I want to hear it covered by you. Yes, Breaking Bad is extremely good. I think Walter White is one of the great examples of an amazing character arc over multiple seasons that's consistent and well done. So
carried by an excellent performance as well.
Yeah. BT says, I've completely given up on all Disney Marvel projects unless one of you fine gentlemen says they finally pulled their heads out of their asses. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you.
We'll let you know.
I think generally we all enjoyed No Way Home. I think that was probably a surprisingly good one.
Still, it's not like we haven't gotten like to greatness, you know?
Yeah.
We'll let you know if they ever get there.
Roger Schaefer says John dies at the end. Is this Halo?
Technically.
Does he not die so that Cortana can like possess his body like a skin suit and then kind of comes back to life again?
Do you want me to tell you what happens? Because it's
I mean, I don't give a fuck about the show, so yeah, spoil away.
She was designed and injected into his head specifically to take over him eventually to create the ultimate Spartan. She, over the course of the season, comes to like Chief to the point where she doesn't want to do that. And then the end finale type thing is through a very contrived set of memes. We've got to have a choice. Take the artifacts that the Covenant want back to humans, or leave the artifacts behind and save your team because they're all dying. And he's like, I'm not good enough to take the artifact and save the team, but you are, referring to Cortana. So he walks out and gets himself killed deliberately so that she'll have to take over his body. And then she does kill everything, get the artifact, and save the team.
Fuck off, film.
It's just not like...
Sure.
It's like, all right, then. You know? Like, all right, fine.
I mean, this seems like a pretty risky maneuver, if nothing else. Like, what if you go out to get killed and your body gets, like, vaporized or something? Like,
I'll tell you this much, man. Everyone
over
who's
that?
watching didn't realize he had to kill himself for it to take over. That seems weird. Is she actually puppeting a corpse? That feels... Is he gonna rot? What's going on? Like,
It'd be like Strange in Multiverse of Madness. He's just like
Yeah.
zombie Strange. Yeah, there was a question here as well, actually. Do your live streams stay on YouTube? I can't find open bar 1 to 15. Yeah, so if you go to my second channel, that's where I re-upload them so they don't like clutter up the main channel. So yeah, go look on Critical Drinker After Hours. There's a whole plethora of content there for you. There's even a whole bunch of reviews for like older movies and stuff called Drinker's Extra Shots. So yeah, have at it. A8 Converter Man says, did you catch Twitter going mental on after FT employment correspondent Sarah O'Connor shared an article on a robot killing a worker in a German Volkswagen plant? What the fuck? Is this like the case of the killer robot all over again? No, I didn't see that. Motolicious says, is She-Hulk on GameCube or Dreamcast? Yeah, it does look that bad. It's like a game cutscene. I can't say this name. Is it Talakoya Kwachichli? Says, Drinker, opinion on Event Horizon. Also, neat tip goals. Bud Shades at $50, hat at $100, and a vest at $150. Gundam will understand. Asking about Event Horizon, I've done an entire review on it. It got a Drinker recommends. I really enjoyed that movie. I think it's great. Bit of sci-fi horror. So yeah, give the video a watch if you want to see my thoughts. Working Jellyfish says, good day from Australia. Remember when sci-fi shows began with a low budget? What's this? Before gaining studio support to increase their quality, piss off Paramount Halo. That's an interesting point, actually. Like, shows get greenlit with massive budgets right off the bat now, rather than building up to it. And so the writing is not really there because it doesn't have to be. Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it now. Akumu X says, hey Drinker, I wanted to ask, do you alter your accent in any way like Count Dankula does to his Scots burr when on YouTube? Your accent is quite tame. I think it just comes from the part of Scotland that I'm from. Like, I'm from the Central Belt, so unless you're in Glasgow or somewhere like that, you don't really have a really strong accent or regional accent. It gets a bit mental when you go further north up into the Highlands or the Islands or that. That's where, yeah, you get crazy Scottish accents. But mine is just like generic.
Oh.
So I'm sorry. I know it's not as extreme as you were hoping for, but there it is. And the last one from the other night was James Moore, who said Superman versus Elite is way better than Man of Steel.
Yeah, probably.
I can't argue with you, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, man. Okie dokie. So that was all of the super chats from the other night. So it's just a few that have come in this evening.
Very well.
So, sorry, chat, that we've been a little bit distracted. We just wanted to get through all the super chats from the other night so that we'd have more attention to give to you guys. What have we got here? I love how we've still got like Predator versus like everything. It's like Predator versus Nick Cage, Predator versus Russia.
Nick Cage versus Russia. How about that?
Predator versus World Hunger.
Wait, did you see Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent after?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Oh, you should. I have. Yeah, it's funny. It's a fun Nick Cage movie, like celebrating Nick Cage for the most part. It's good shit.
I think it's good. Like he's been through the ringer and he's kind of come out the other side, and he seems like a more, I don't know. He seems kind of grateful, I suppose, that he made it.
It feels like he's in a new phase of everyone realizing, I like this guy. Looking back, because back in the day, he was just an actor who pops up in stuff and does some weird roles. And then I think it was the past like 10 years, he became a meme. Yeah. Being like just caging out and doing all crazy. But now it feels like he's in another new phase of like, yeah, he's crazy, but I like him a lot. Like, he's a cool guy.
I think he was smart enough to embrace the meme, but not to the point where it wasn't funny anymore. Mm-hmm. You could still kind of roll with it, but as he said himself, like he still gave 100% for every role that he was in. Like he always showed up for it, and he never like phoned it in or anything. And I guess that's commendable. Like because he's obviously coiled away in some shit movies.
you see Color Out of Space by any chance?
No.
It's a Lovecraft movie that he's in. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. Nick Cage versus Lovecraft. That's got to be good.
A little bit.
There's one here as well, because I saw the trailer for this when I was, I think, seeing Multiverse of Madness, the movie Men.
Right.
And it looked good. Like, it looked pretty effective. I have no fucking idea what it's about or anything. It just looks like this weird, creepy horror movie.
Yeah, I've not seen many reviews of it yet, so I don't know quite what it's about. I've seen the trailer too, and I was like, that's an interesting premise, if it's even a premise, that you're in a town with all these different people, but they're all the same person. That sounds interesting. I don't exactly... The fact that it's called Men, I know, is putting a lot of people off, because they're like, oh god, what's it going to be about? And it's like, well, I guess I have no idea what the point of the film is yet, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I hope that's good, whatever it is.
I'd want to see this movie, Predator versus a Fray Bentos pie. Just like, he's got to heat up and everything, and then sit down at the table like with his massively oversized monster hands and try and eat it. I think that'd be pretty compelling stuff.
And
I want to see Predators just do mundane stuff.
Yeah, it's like a really typical, almost teenage angst movie, and it's just like a teenage predator waking up and he's late for school, and he's like, and this girl he really likes, just she's not vibing, it's not working out. His professors are like, you didn't turn up to your detention, you're gonna get even more now. And he's like, oh man.
Like the jock predators start giving him shit, and
his dad is like the most famous. His dad's the most famous predator. He's like the best predator ever, and he's just like, son, you don't have to. You shouldn't compare yourself to me, okay? Like, it's not about that. And then the tragic ending is that we get to love this predator dad, and he's like, right, I'm off to my mission on Earth, and I'm going to like a jungle or something. It's gonna be exciting.
I'll see you soon, son. This seems like an easy mission.
Yeah.
Bye, Dad. Make it happen, please. All right. So the ones from tonight were Nick Patch, who said, my favorite critical thinker and my favorite critical drinker. Cheers, mates. Thank you very much. Chris Nicholson, hail drinkers. So my leftist girlfriend of 2 years just dumped me through email for not being woke enough. I hope she said that. Like, you're not woke enough. Goodbye. On the bright side, I now get to listen to your open bars in the car again. Have a drink on me. What? Did she ban open bar in her presence? If that's the case, you are well shot of her. Yeah. Onwards and upwards, man. I hope you find another girl who's not crazy like this one. Mr. Monkey Buns says, go away. Fair play. Helen Line says, ahoy drinker and long man. Can you give me your thoughts on all three of the Dead Space games? I love 1 and 2, and I think 3 went too action-based.
So I just feel like my take is really generic because this comes up a decent amount, but I love the first one most. I love the atmosphere and the tension and the uncertainty of the entire situation, and I love the world and the lighting of everything and how violent and just raw everything is and how desperate you feel. And I remember enjoying quite a bit even the hardest difficulty, like the resources mattered. Dead Space 2 felt like the difference between Bioshock 1 and 2, where the mechanics have all improved. They've made everything smoother and just more UI friendly, I guess is to say. But I feel like they started to really step on the gas for trying to scare you and being much more in your face with a lot of the scares and the screaming, and like the gore was like flying everywhere. And I just remember being like, this isn't as scary as the first one now because the action is seeping into it more. And then the third one was, it's more of an action game than a horror game at that point. But I think any of the games are bad. Sorry, I guess I should clarify. I definitely don't think the first two are bad, and the third one is the one that some people consider to be bad. I think it still works as a game. It's just not quite. It doesn't quite fit in with Dead Space 1 and 2, I think. And I have a lot of respect for Dead Space as an IP, and it's a pity what happened to it, because I'm pretty sure Dead Space 3 happens the way that it does because it got infected by like the values of the era. For instance, one of the first sections you do in that game is cover shooting. And it's like, why the fuck am I doing cover shooting in Dead Space? What is this?
Yeah.
But that's the influence of Gears of War and all the rest of them at the time.
Yeah, God, that was quite an era, that. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd only played Dead Space 2, and I didn't complete it, so I don't really know enough about them to compare them. IB Hampy says, I know we have Jane Foster cosplaying as Thor and Black Valkyrie, the alcoholic slave driver, being called King, but what they've done to Gore the God Butcher needs more insulting too. So, like, he's obviously not in the trailer, so I don't really know what they're going to do with him.
I haven't seen much about him, so I can't make fun of it. Like,
Yeah. But when the movie comes out, rest assured, if he deserves to be made fun of, we will.
absolutely.
Jay Archer said, "You will review Severance and Outer Range, or else I'm going to get drunk and put on a Scottish accent and do it myself, and I'm 3 months sober. Don't do it." Who knows if I get the time? I'll take a look. Frank says, "Thoughts on Love, Death, and Robots, chaps? I've heard it's really good, but I haven't seen it.
No.
It's kind of it's like an anthology, isn't it? Like a bunch of unrelated stories, but they're like animated stuff and a whole bunch of other things."
Honestly, I don't know anything about it.
Okay. Does this dress make my ass look big? Says, any opinion on Cronenberg's new movie, Crimes of the Future? It stars a Numenorian, a Bond girl, and a sparkly vampire. Comes out early June, and the trailer is wild. I haven't seen that
trailer.
No, I haven't seen it. Must have come out kind of under the radar then in that case. Justin Watkins says, should you and MauLer get time, we desperately need a drinker's review or unbridled rage review of the Johnny Depp trial. That's wild stuff. You guys following it at all?
I've seen highlights that are incredibly funny, but I guess I'm not following it in the same way that like a lot of people are. A lot of stuff I just get from friends and stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. Like, there's a lot of like little highlight reels on Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that kind of make for good viewing. I just haven't been following it. I'm kind of wondering, like, is it ever going to fucking end? It seems like it's been going on for months now.
That's actually a great question. I'm actually waiting to be told the verdict any second now, because I'm like, it is over, right? It's like, nope. Like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, how many times can you be cross-examined? It's just, yeah, it's endless. Zappy79 says, keep up the good work. I'm so grateful you're here to provide the voice of reason. I don't know if it's reasonable, but I do provide a voice. So
yeah,
glad you like it. Superflea says, evening both. Drinker, how much toilet duck do you have tucked away for Johnson's Big Trouble in Little China remake? And what's your take, MauLer?
Big Trouble in Little China is fucking great. I don't even know, what could I possibly say about that movie that hasn't been said by everybody?
Well, I think the rumor is that Dwayne Johnson wanted to do a remake of it.
Yeah, no, stop. Just don't touch it.
Yeah, just leave it.
Just don't touch it.
I don't think it's happening now anyway. Like, it was a kind of an idea that he'd floated because he was a big fan of the movie, but I don't think there was much interest in doing it. So, yeah, there's just no way you're going to make it better. Just leave it alone. Craig Road says, follow HBO show making the main character female and the reported death of Hanny Pym in the new Ant-Man movie makes me just want to delete everything. So I think he says Hanny. Hank, I presume you meant.
Damn, they're killing off Michael Douglas in the new Ant-Man?
I mean, he's pretty old, so yeah, it makes sense, I suppose.
I was actually going to argue there. I was like, that. To be honest with you, I'm surprised they hadn't killed him already, because they bait his death in the first one because he got shot. But the fact is, yeah, like 3 movies is around about the time they start to think about killing the hero. So let alone the mentor, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well just make the inevitable happen. Kill off Hank, kill off Paul Rudd, and just let the Wasp take over.
Well, she's in danger of not being able to do it either, right? Because
oh yeah, she said she did wrong thing. She did a wrong, MauLer. She did a wrong.
All they've got left is Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
She'll have to be the Wasp.
Yeah, it's like, who else is left now that hasn't said anything offensive? Jora Mayo says, I've been on a Canon Films binge lately. Which films are your favorite, and have you seen the documentary of Canon Films? I don't think I've seen the documentary. No.
No, I definitely haven't. Is that like on Netflix or something? I assume all documentaries are on Netflix now.
It probably is. I'm just going to see if there's any reference to it. Yeah, all I'm seeing is just references to the actual studio themselves. But yeah, in terms of like, actual movies that we like, Christ, where do you even begin? They did a lot of action films and stuff back in the 80s, didn't they? Or, well, I think the 70s that it was.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
This is more of a, because I'm less familiar with them than I am with a lot of things for movies. Even
Well, if I go, I can name a few here that are, because I'm looking up a list just of some of the stuff that they've done. So, fucking hell, it's right. What's likely to be well known? Crucible of Horror, Cauldron of Blood. I mean, the names are amazing.
Oh, Life Force, yeah.
Did they do Life Force?
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, that was basically a softcore porn movie. It was great. That poor actress.
Doing that?
Oh, I think he was. Let me see, because I kind of want to know who the actress was as well. So, yeah, 1985. Patrick Stewart, yeah, as Dr. Armstrong. And who was the space girl? Mathilda May. She's French. That explains a lot.
Space Girl.
Yeah, that's she's listed as. God, yeah, that must have been an interesting casting call. Yep, naked space vampires. Tell you, there's a good idea for a movie: The Predator versus Jack Reacher. I think, yeah, I'd go with that.
That's what I was talking about on the stream. Just have some fun, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Do a premise that's just like we all go, really? All right.
Brandon Duffy says, Drinker, big fan. Really curious if you've ever seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul and your thoughts on either of those shows. Yeah, like I was just saying there. Seen Breaking Bad all the way through. Loved it. Better Call Saul kind of just faded out with the first season. Never really got into it that much. So, don't know. Apparently, it's got really good, though.
Yeah. It's coming to a close soon.
Taker610 says, guys, I can't wait to see your takes on Jurassic Park Dominion. It's at least a break from Disney, eh? Drinker should create an alter ego called the Sober Shill. I could do that, actually. Just have a channel where I like shamelessly shill for like Disney and Universal and all that. It's like, this generic action blockbuster is amazing. Yeah, for Dominion, I'm not loving it. Just looks like another cash-in, to be honest, and the fact that they brought back the original cast, it's just desperation time, really.
Yeah, it just sort of matches the formula. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was terrible, but we'll see, I guess.
There was one that blew my mind today, and I assume this is true. It was like an interview that Laura Dern and Sam Neill had been doing for whatever newspaper or whatever, and they were saying Laura Dern was 23 when she filmed Jurassic Park. And he was, Sam Neill was like 20 years older down there, and it's like, oh, this is so sexist that she'd be paired up with like a much older man. And I was just blown away by the idea that she was only 23 in that movie. I genuinely thought she was at least like early 30s.
Yeah, and Sam Neill just looks good for his age and still does, really. Like, he's just taking care of himself, I guess. Like,
yeah. And it's not like she looked bad in Jurassic Park or anything. Perfectly attractive. It's just, she looked like an older woman, I suppose. Weird. Now she's looking a wee bit rough as Laura. Hate to say it. Just had a bit of work done, I think. Dickie McGeezax says, has MauLer ever been to the famed town of, well, the one with the really long Welsh name?
No, I have not.
Can you say it?
No, I don't think so.
I definitely cannot, based on what's been written here.
Yeah, I definitely come from memory, and I think I've tried before. When looking at it, I'm still like, no.
Easy E says, I think there's an internal struggle at Disney. One side pushing wokeness, and the other side trying desperately to stay profitable. So the end result is woke movies with required Disney Plus homework. Yeah, it goes back to what I said there. Yeah, there's an attempt to like have, what was it? Bob Chapek called it. It was like the franchise ecosystem. And I think that was a really telling remark, because that's exactly what it is. It's just a whole bunch of interconnected properties that you kind of have to, like when you start watching one, you basically just go down the rabbit hole, and that's their aim, just draw you in. So you have to keep watching content after content.
Yeah.
In terms of like where they're heading as a company, no fucking idea. I don't have sources on the inside, so I couldn't say. I mean, as far as I understand, Bob Chapek is the money man. He's not really interested in like ideology or anything. He's just there to make as much money as possible for the company. But hey, he's just one person ultimately. There's a whole plethora of people at Disney, I suspect, that are, pushing all this stuff. Daniel Pace says, how about fixing Book of Boba Fett? I wouldn't have made it. I think that's how I'd fix it. Just don't make the show.
Or if you're gonna have to, it's not gonna look anything like that show.
Yeah, I mean, if I was forced to, I'd be like, yeah, okay. So he escapes the Sarlacc pit and he goes off to do more bounty hunting, maybe try and take revenge or something, and runs into lots of problems along the way, and he can't get to Han Solo. I don't know. There's got to be something you can do that's more fun than this. Yo-Yo says, several projects I would like to be put in charge of are an open galaxy Star Wars game, a series of movies based on Tolkien's Silmarillion. I started writing on missions for the Star Wars games. Well, good luck with that. And an open world Star Wars game would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Darth Story says, I want an escape from the blandness of contemporary politics. I'd highly recommend checking out the 1988 to 97 OVA series, Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Big fan of both channels. Thank you very much, man. And I'll keep that one in mind. JS Pena says, you might be joking, but Predator versus Indominus Rex would be awesome. That's what I was saying to you, man. Like, the Indominus Rex can hide from thermal imaging. It can make itself go kind of invisible, and it's a ginormous big dinosaur. I think he might have the edge over the Predator. I mean, you'd probably have
plasma caster though. Boom, dead.
I know, but like, how much effectiveness would it really have against a massive dinosaur? I mean, I get how it can kill a man because we're still relatively small, but like against a big thing like that, might have to hit it quite a few times to kill it.
In his face, I don't know. It'll go right through, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think the dinosaur stand a chance. The only way it wins is if it surprise attacks the predator, I think.
Yeah. Spike Rush says, forget who made this point, but most modern actors aren't actually actors playing characters, but personalities, being themselves in every role. Is character acting dead, or will it make a comeback? I don't know if that's quite the case. I think the best paid ones are that. The Rock is basically the same person in every movie. Fucking Mark Wahlberg is just Mark Wahlberg in every movie. But they're the big earners. But there's still plenty of character actors out there that are doing great work. Thomas Cunningham says, love the channel. Your reviews are funny and insightful and express the way so many of us really feel. Keep up the great work. Thank you, mate. Rurik Lucci says, in 40k, it doesn't even have to save anybody. So is this the needs of the many versus needs of the few? Yeah, people are expendable in 40k, I guess. George Watkins says, Drinker, have you seen Gareth Evans' Apostle? No, I haven't, I'm afraid. I don't know if MauLer has.
No, I don't think so.
This is perfect. Judy Hops says, if it's a female predator, before it self-destructs, Arnie would say, they'll never know what you've sacrificed for them.
Yep.
Jarameo says, just saw the new Rescue Rangers. It was actually a good movie. It's Roger Rabbit in a nutshell, which makes it better than Who Reamed Rosie Rabbit. Sounds terrifying. Claudio Rogajan says, again with ILM, the CGI on the 2003 Hulk is fantastic. He legit looks real in some shots, although he is too bright green. Look up a picture of him. So, I did not like that movie, the Ang Lee Hulk. But I'll look it up and see if I can see a good example of the CGI. Hold on. I feel like I should share this. Just give me a second. You got it? Here we go.
I remember that.
That's probably not a great example of the CGI there, to be fair. That's actually interesting. You see that one there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one on the left does actually look better. He's definitely too bright green, though. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah, too green. But for 2003, not bad.
It's tough, isn't it? To get that right.
What's the next one? Cal Turner. Just found your channel this week. It's a good listen. Thank you very much. George Watkins, what's your favorite film that came out the year you were born? For me, it's Jurassic Park, 1993. Good question. Fuck, I'm going to have to look it up. Okay. Films of, well,
I was going to say, my answer's not spoken for.
Yeah, I can think of a couple that came out in 83. Right. Right, let's see what we got to choose from here. So Scarface came out, The Right Stuff, War Games, Return of the Jedi, yeah. Meaning of Life, Outsiders, Uncommon Valor. I think, The Evil Dead came, no, that's 81. What the fuck, why is that on the list? Sleepaway Camp, there's a horror movie. Well, it's kind of a horror movie. Bad Boys. Yeah, it might have to be Return of the Jedi, I think. Based on what I'm seeing here. Yeah. There's some good ones, though. I'll give it that. What about you, MauLer?
Well, I was actually trying to say that I've been spoken for already, because they just said this is 93 and it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park's like one of the best films ever, and I'm 93, so...
That'll do, then. That'll do.
That'll do.
Yeah. Ash Rail says, would really like for you to review Ginger Snaps. Oh, yeah, is that the werewolf one? I think it is. I think it's one of the greatest. Yeah, there we go. I think it's one of the greatest werewolf movies ever made, but I also fit the age and personality demographics, so I might be biased. Yeah, so it's kind of like American Werewolf in London, but with a woman. As I remember, it's like a little bit of coming of age stuff to it. Yeah, I need to rewatch it. It's been a really long time. Claudia Rogajan, funny about Top Gun, the producers saw the first cut of the movie and freaked out because there was no plot. Then they got the actors back to dub over the flight sequences. They were silent originally. No fucking way. Seriously.
Damn.
I cannot imagine them playing out with without dialogue. Andre Hernandez says, like your Marvel and DC movie reviews, are you familiar with Marvel and DC comics? Not as familiar as Gary is, I suspect. Yeah, I'm not really an expert in the comic books, and yeah, I've said as much. Like, I try to just judge the movies on their own merits. Like, I'll do a bit of background research on the comics, just if there's anything worth talking about there. But you just go for the movies. Claudia Rogajan, because I mentioned it, what are your guys' thoughts on the 2003 Hulk movie? Ang Lee was wrong director for that. One of the most boring movies I've seen. I would agree.
I can't remember it at this point.
Ang Lee was just fresh off the success of like Crouching Tiger, and I think, yeah, just a terrible director to do a movie like that. Like, the Hulk is not graceful and you know, dreamlike like you got with that movie, and yeah, bad choice there. Gator159 says, I listen to every open bar while taking a shower. I thought you were going to say taking a shit there. So
yeah, I was expecting, and somehow, if he'd said while taking a shit, that would have seemed more normal to me. I'd have been like, oh, okay.
To be fair, I mean, the open bar goes on for what, 3 hours usually? That's a long shit.
It's also a long shower.
That's true as well, yeah. Claudia Rogajan says, more on my experience with Hulk. I was 10 and I loved the Hulk. Felt like I was watching it for 8 hours. Felt emotionally drained after. Right, so I guess what you mean is you loved the Hulk from the comics, then you watched the movie and it was kind of boring and shit. So, yeah, fair play. Abul Heltron says, thoughts on Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and El Camino. Why haven't you made any reviews on them? And if you haven't watched it, how are you even complaining when you have such peak show available at your home? Yeah, like I say, I mean, I've watched Breaking Bad all the way through. Loved it. Heard El Camino was a bit shit and never really got into Better Call Saul.
El Camino is fine. It's just fine. I actually wouldn't mind you hearing what you think of it, actually, to be honest with you.
It's just a movie, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I might give it a go then. SG Gold says, I just want to appear in chat. Oh, there you go. Well, you've had your chance and you've got to appear, so well done, sir. Taker610 says, there's a US football league, minor leagues team called the Pittsburgh Maulers, but in our hearts, MauLer is not minor league, he's Premier League.
Yay.
Yeah. Walid Al-Gamadi says, from the way you sound, I thought you'd be chubby. Keep up the good work. I like your reviews. I mean, yeah, you can't see my stomach from here, so maybe I am. John Hamilton says, Drinker, check out Defying Gravity, $20 Amazon stream on DVD. The 2009 series before The Message, the best sci-fi that I've seen. Love your videos. Thank you very much, dude. And yeah, Defying Gravity. Okay. Taker610, is Doctor Who now retard? Oh, I mean RTD'd. See what you did there.
Nice.
And yes, it is apparently. Let me just refresh there. Sorry, just catching up. Okay, Max Bolton, what are your thoughts on Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp, and what do you think their careers in the movie industry will be in the future?
His is done. His, who knows?
Yeah. It does seem like the public opinion has kind of turned against her, which seems kind of justified based on what we've seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, whether it'll have any actual long-term repercussions or whether she's just like a protected class, it'll be interesting to see, because I think it's drawn up some really big inequalities in how these trials are conducted and who gets preferential treatment. So yeah, I'd like to see that change a little bit, to be honest. Disney-fied Sunquist says, gentlemen, our worst fears have been realized. Diverse actress Moses Ingram, Reva, admitted that she was never a Star Wars fan and was hired without putting much effort in for her audition. Kenobi is doomed. Yeah, it kind of lines up with everything else that I've heard, really.
Yeah.
And she is absolutely going to be the main character in that show. Yum Yum Eat 'em Up says, just got done watching EFAP 187. MauLer and gang need a sci-fi palate cleanser after that. Drinker convinced this long man to watch Stargate SG-1. Do it! Do it, MauLer. It'll be good. You'll like it. Happy Birthday Polly said, speaking of Nick Cage, please see Pig. Hi, long man. I might.
Hello.
I've heard it's weird and he's an asshole in it. Spike Rush says, have you watched Raised by Wolves on HBO? It's directed by Ridley Scott and it's extremely strange and interesting. So yeah, I've kind of got that, and The Man in the High Castle are both on my radar, and I started watching Man in the High Castle the other night, and I quite liked it so far. But I should give Raised by Wolves a go as well. SJ Shady says, Hail Drinker, an obscure movie from the 80s that you might like is Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. I've seen that one, actually, yeah. So he's like, well, he's blind. I don't know if he's like a Vietnam vet or something like that, and he lost his sight in battle. But now he goes around with a stick and beats the shit out of people. So it's quite good. I used to love that one and watched it as a kid. Yeah, there you go. Haikyuu says, Drinker, I stayed in Scotland for 2 months and it's an incredibly liberal place. You are behind enemy lines. What can I say? I mean, it's where I was born. Daniel Pace says, Drinker, if you want to watch a good comedy, watch Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile. Yeah, I've seen both of them. And yeah, I was planning to review Romancing the Stone, actually. Jewel of the Nile is a bit shite. But Romancing the Stone was a nice little twist on the adventure genre. Coyote says, no question, just appreciation for what you both do. Thank you. OMG Puppies says, BBC did a nice adaptation of The City and the City based on the sci-fi murder mystery novel by China Miéville. Two cities in the same place, and people train themselves to only see the city that they belong to. That's weird. Shake from Hunger Team says, "You guys are great. Love the show. Please take my money." I suppose we should then, shouldn't we? If he's telling us to. But yeah, thanks, man. Michael Tynan says, "Love Cage in Leaving Las Vegas." Indeed. Easy E says, "Definitely watch Color Out of Space. No one can act crazy from witnessing an incomprehensible eldritch horror like Nicolas Cage can." That just sounds like the perfect combination. John Snowden says, "Regarding Men, the movie, Deep Focus Lens did a review. I think Drinker could have a good talk with her and bump her small channel up. She even gave Garland a fair shake on Ex Machina and Annihilation." Interesting, okay. So that channel is Deep Focus Lens. Okay, I'll see what I can do. Spike Rush says, "What do you think of a remake of They Live? It could be good with a budget and modern VFX." Yeah, but you're not going to get Rowdy Roddy Piper in it again, are you? So you're going to be missing out. Yeah, I do agree. Like the VFX were kind of shitty for it, but for me, like in a John Carpenter movie, that's just part of the charm, isn't it? Shake from Hunger Team says, "Is it okay to ask running advice from either one man or Drinker?" I think he means long man. Running advice.
Running advice, yeah.
Drink plenty of water.
Yeah, don't push yourself too hard. I don't know.
Yeah, the most I do is like the occasional 5K, and I'm pretty like fucked by the end of that. Wolfsbane says, "Something I never noticed before. Did the show Primal take direct inspiration from Conan the Barbarian? Also, thoughts on sci-fi primitive shows and movies." Okay, so I don't know much about Primal, if I'm honest with you. And sci-fi primitive shows and movies. So does that just mean like sci-fi shows about primitive cultures and cavemen and stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. Jarameo said, "To prepare for the upcoming Top Gun, watch Her Majesty's Top Gun. It's a James Bond ripoff starring Nicky Henson as Charles Bind, #1 agent SEX." Sounds classic. Superflea says, "Well, the movie is still on Johnson's IMDb list. Fuck. Leave it alone, Dwayne." Schwartz King says, "Hello from Ireland. I would recommend you watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was a great movie. We did, and we liked it." Claudio Rogajan, "Random, but what are your thoughts on the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies? I actually like the second more than the first, unlike most people." I quite like them.
Yeah, I like him.
Second one's got Jared Harris in it, hasn't it?
As Moriarty.
Yeah, and he is good. I like Jared Harris.
He is.
And yeah, Robert Downey Jr. just does pretty well in the role. I think he's having a lot of fun. Jurassic John says, "Thoughts on John Carpenter's filmography?" I think everything up until the early 90s was pretty good for the most part. Then it just kind of fell off a cliff.
Yes, the whole crazy selection of like really great down to really strange and not as great throughout his whole career.
Yeah, if nothing else, because he worked outside the studio system for pretty much his whole career. They're just quirky, like they're fun, they're different, and there's a lot of creativity involved in them. So they are very watchable movies. I'll say that much. Zach Luna says, "Question for you both. How exactly is Disney going to pull off Kenobi versus Darth Vader? To me, I don't see it working at all under any circumstances. It would ruin A New Hope's fight."
We'll have to see.
Maybe they won't fight. Maybe they'll never actually meet.
Maybe it'll just be a chess game.
Yeah. Or maybe they'll just like shout things at each other over a view screen.
Yeah, that could be it.
Christian Sabi says, "Hey Drinker and Longman, how long before we see an all-female casted remake of The Thing? Also, Drinker, any chance of you making a video on Everything Everywhere All at Once?" Well, you'll get that video tomorrow, hopefully. And as for the remake of The Thing, yeah, go for it. I dare you. Remake The Thing with an all-female cast and just see how well that plays out.
Yeah.
Yo Mama says, "Longman, can you speak Welsh or do you shame your ancestors?"
I know bits of Welsh, but I'm definitely not fluent. No.
Captain Kurt says, "Hey guys, just saying hi and thanks for the great content. I vote for Tango and Cash versus the Predator. That would be a battle for the ages." Andrew Graziosa says, "Hey, I love your channels. What's your opinions on The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead?"
I think Walking Dead sucks, the show, and then Fear the Walking Dead I have not seen.
I think the first 3 seasons of Walking Dead I liked,
You like
and
season
then
2?
it started a steady decline, and it was just formulaic as fuck. And by the last couple of seasons, I just tuned out. I just thought, I've had enough of this. It's going nowhere. I don't care about anyone anymore. Just done. Mr. V says Predator versus Rambo. Top that. That's a good matchup.
Yeah.
Evan NJ says, "Have you had a chance to see the 2022 version of Death on the Nile? I'm a huge fan of the original film and find the new one to be insulting to it." I mean, I'm not surprised, really.
No, I'm not surprised.
Time inaccurate cultural references and woke ideals. Imagine my shock. Gal Gadot's in that one, isn't she? The new one.
Yes.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I'm not surprised that it's inaccurate and kind of dumbed down. Adir Caden says, "I always hear gripes that you guys hate brown people." Okay. But your critiques usually center on the tropes of bad feminist writing. Race barely ever figures at all. Do you think your haters deliberately misunderstand or don't listen? Probably both, I would say.
Yeah, it's like a collection of both. I saw there was a tweet the other day that was like, "I used to really enjoy MauLer before it all, spiraled into, oh no, there's women in the film," and I'm just like, when?
Yeah, it's like the least political person I think I know on YouTube. Like, never talks about politics or anything. And
I was confused. I was like, if you ever liked my stuff, it's the same. I don't think I've changed the approach. So like, all right.
It's like they've been told about you by a friend of a friend or something, and like they've just taken that and not actually thought about it for a second. And that's what you end up with. It's just, it's garbage. Night King 01 says, "Drinker and MauLer, I have a recommendation. If any John Woo movie you need to see, watch Hard Boiled. In terms of action, it's the greatest of all time." Yeah, the fight scenes in that are pretty awesome. Do like it. Declan Lyons says, "The rumor about the new Predator being female comes from the fact that there's a fan-made short movie called Warrior Predator, which Prey seems to be ripping off." Okay, so it's not like confirmed or anything. I Played Sharp Minor says, "Love your videos. I'm an English bastard that carries the Dunbar name with the Great Tartan. Intrigued to know what the Drinker's Tartan looks like." So, like, I don't have a tartan because I don't have a clan name, so I don't really have one to belong to. The closest one for me would be Ferguson, which would be like my grand's surname, so she's part of Clan Ferguson, and that is like a kind of blue and greeny tartan, which looks fine. But that's about as close as I get. There's a lot of like just Anglo-Saxon names now mixed into Scotland, so we're not all like MacDonald or Cameron or whatever.
MacDougall.
What's that?
MacDougall.
MacDougall.
It's gonna be all kinds.
Angus McHaggis. Yeah.
Blackadder's a Scottish brother, right? I can't remember.
Who was that? Sorry.
Blackadder. He has a Scottish brother, I think. McAdder. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he might do actually.
He's a Claymore.
Yeah. Infinity Flare says, "Fake spoiler, Jurassic Park Dominion post-credits shows Dr. Wu operating a secret laboratory alongside a Yautja scientist breeding xenomorph dinosaur hybrids to pit against Youngbloods dinosaurs in space." I called it.
Surprised if the Godzilla walks into the T-Rex's room and says, "I'm putting together a team." It's like, whoa.
We're going to take the fight to the humans. Ofer Nave says, "If MauLer wants to see SG1, I hear Gary will be starting that after finishing Babylon 5. It blows my mind that Gary has never seen Babylon 5 before, until recently.
It's kind of funny. I've missed out on plenty of nerd stuff, but I'm pretty nerdy. But with Gary, I'm just like, how could you have missed out on any of this? You're like the number one nerd person.
In and Out says, "What do you think of Kentucky bourbon?" I'm perfectly happy with it. Goes down all right. George Haffen says, may I get the famous The Message line live, please? I mean, I can't make my voice echo, so I can just say it. The Message. There you go. Ryan, 50 years ago, says, strong female character, haha, funny guy. Okay. Yo-Yo says, I'm going to be turning 21 soon. What drink should I try first? Have yourself a nice beer to start yourself off.
That's a good starting point, yeah.
Yeah, just start off light and then work your way up to the hard stuff. In and Out says, are you going to watch that Mike Myers show on Netflix? I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what Mike does now since he's not really done anything in like 10 years. So maybe. Miles Home Slice says, love, Death and Robots review, please. All right, I have to watch it first, though. Truck Driving Gamer says, Hail Drinker and MauLer. My two favorite 80s guilty pleasure movies are Time Bandits and Krull. Have either of you seen them? If so, I'd love to hear your opinions. Cheers, mate. Haven't seen
Krull, but I've seen Time Bandits.
See, I haven't seen Time Bandits, but I have seen Krull. So
together we form the ultimate.
We form a halfway knowledgeable movie person. I like Krull. It's got real 80s charm. Very primitive special effects, but I don't care. And it's got epic music as well. So, James Moore said, I'd like to know that with Love, Death and Robots, the longest episode is only 2 minutes and the shortest is 6. I think what you meant is the opposite way around. Each animated by a different studio. Okay, so they're really short then. There you go. He also followed up by saying 21 minutes, not 2. There we go. So, yeah, longest one is 21, and the shortest episode is just 6 minutes long, so not a huge amount to it. George Haffen says, Drinker, are you a Rangers fan or a Celtic fan? Neither, because I don't live in Glasgow, so I don't have to get involved in that, and it's great. Nobody says, hey Drinker, finally caught a stream. Thanks for you. I've learned a lot about character design and growth from my own book. Cheers. Thank you very much. I'm glad you've learned something.
Yeah.
Nick King says, guys, thoughts on The Mask and its sequel, Son of the Mask, aka The Antichrist.
I've only ever heard that Son of Mask is like one of the worst movies that ever existed.
Yeah. I like the original though. It's good.
Yeah. The original's fun.
Danny Numero says, have you guys seen the trailer for the new Cronenberg movie? Other than The Northman, this is the only other time that I'm actually excited for a movie coming out this year. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Don't think either of us have seen the trailer, but I'll need to have a look now because it's Cronenberg. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Felix Rodier says, Predator versus Robocop, favorite one-liners ever. So what would be our one-liners from each movie?
Oh, I thought they were saying just ever in general. Because that's tough, man. You got a lot of them, but Hasta La Vista Baby from the Terminator and T2 is pretty damn wonderful considering why he says it, and then it's just a great line anyway. That's one of my favorites.
I think maybe my favorite line from Predator is Blaine, where he's like, this stuff will make you a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
I just love the way he delivers it. Ransom G says, are you all aware of Birds Elope with the Sun's Hawkeye videos? They're compilations of Hawkeye being awesome and Kate B being flawed, perhaps worth a cameo on EFAP. Just food for thought.
Well, I haven't seen Hawkeye.
That's a problem then. Wolfsbane says, Primal is a show from Adult Swim created by the creator of Samurai Jack. In later seasons, it's revealed that they are in the future instead of the past. Well, okay. That gives us a bit more context then. I think we're almost there, actually. In and Out says, do you eat sushi? That sounds vaguely threatening. I've been known to eat it on occasion. It's all right. Don't mind it.
Be honest.
Yeah. Do you eat sushi, MauLer?
I've had sushi before. It's not a favorite of mine. I'll take a pizza over a sushi, okay?
Yeah. One of my mates insisting on going to a Japanese restaurant to eat sushi in the middle of a night out, and it's like the shittest thing for trying to soak up alcohol. I don't know why he did it. To this day, I've been bitter about it. Yanko Krav says, my man, please make a review of Love, Death and Robots. It may have been mentioned before, but I don't think you will regret it. I'm sure I won't. I mean, it sounds pretty good from what I'm hearing, and it probably won't even take long to watch.
Yeah.
But that is it. We made it to the end of all the super chats.
Well.
Mission. So,
well, good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, and I know you guys are enjoying the lovely background there. I love how you just get Tessa Thompson's forehead. It's a great thing to see. But yeah, we'll probably have to finish up there because we've all got things to do. I think I've got to go and watch Love, Death and Robots now by the sounds of things.
Or play Elden Ring.
Well, there's that too, you know. I was trying to keep that quiet because people will be like, "Oh, what do you think of it?" It's like I'm only a couple of hours in. I don't know. So. Yeah. Yeah, I did actually. I played the Resident Evil Origins thing first because I knew I could complete that in like a few hours. So that was fun. It was a nice little trip down memory lane. I'd forgotten how good the Resident Evil remake was. Backgrounds are amazing, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that I think is all we've got for today. So I guess we should go away now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.